Welcome to Epic Begins with One Step Forward, the podcast that reveals how to plan, achieve, and enjoy the journey of creating epic results in your life, business, health, and relationships. Here's your host, best-selling author and motivational speaker, Xander Sprague.
Hello, Epic people, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Epic Begins with One Step Forward. I'm your host, Xander Sprague, and today I am so honored to be joined by Coach Sandy. Coach, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks so much again for the opportunity. So I am a mindset development coach. Spent the majority of my life in hockey. After my playing career was over, I transitioned into the skills coaching part. So I spent many years coaching professional hockey players, college Olympians, really on the skill set side. So I didn't coach teams or anything like that. And so hockey's been a part of my life forever. And maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, I transitioned exclusively into the mindset space and work with athletes, all ages, all levels, really on mental preparation. So when I say mindset, I'm talking belief, attitude, grit, focus, emotional control, discipline, self-awareness. And written a couple books. See your books back there also. I never thought I would be saying that, but I just love it. Interact with a lot of speaking engagements. I'm really loving that part, and just trying to impact as many people as I can on the thought process of performance, primarily on the concept of focus. So that's really where I spend most of my time.
Cool. Well, that's really cool. I want to jump into all different parts of this. Well, let's start off with you. You played, obviously you played hockey growing up. You said when your hockey career was over, did you play in college? Did you go on to play professionally?
So I went to prep school on the East Coast in Rhode Island, so not too far away from where you're from. I went to college.
Which one?
St. George's.
I was going to say St. George's. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that.
A really rough upbringing there at that facility. No, but I loved every second of it. And hockey, yes, I ended up playing in college. Went to school out in Ohio. When that was finished, played in Europe for a couple of years. And the dream was over, but I love the sport and just a part of it, for so many years of my life. And when that was finished, I got into coaching, like I said, and just loved that. And I think I didn't know this about myself, but I think I'm probably like a teacher by trade, maybe trapped in a hockey person's body for so long. And it's been so rewarding, probably even more rewarding than my playing career, just to try and help, so many people maximize their potential. And that really is kind of where my focus is. When I say making it, right? Like I almost don't care what the dream is. I just want people to maximize their potential. And for me, sports, hockey exclusively was probably the vehicle for so long. But I think now I'd probably say I'm more in the help build great human being business.
Definitely.
Which sounds like you're in the same. So that it's so rewarding. So
absolutely. I totally agree. And I would say I do feel that perhaps one of my vocations is to teach people. I spent in a corporate career, I spent 17 years doing technical instruction. I taught people how to use software and stuff. I seem to have a knack for understanding technology and putting it into terms and, getting people to learn. Been trying to teach my mom for 30 years how to use her computer, and she's okay, but not great. So I don't talk about I'd like to say I taught my mom how to use everything, but I swear, even though for 30 years, I'm still like, all right, mom, click on the attachment,
Yeah. I was going through that the other day, not to bash our parents, but
No.
I was going through that the other day, and it was I got a phone call from my dad, and he said, "Right, you're laughing already." So I pick up the phone, and he's like, "Hey, bud, like, what'd you need? I saw that you sent me a text message, and I said I sent that 2 weeks ago. It's like
Yeah.
they're just, but that's part of the deal, right? That generation didn't have all the technology, and I get bogged up by it too.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Now, interested in your career as a coach,
Yeah,
or
yep,
and
yep,
stuff. Obviously, hockey. I played hockey growing up, and uh, lots of lots of skills that you have to do all at once to be successful. Obviously,
yep,
skating being the first one. You got to be good at skating, but then there's puck handling and positioning and how to do heads up play and stuff. So for you, when you were doing more of that, what aspects did you really like to help hone in for players
yep.
to up their game, be better, be more competent?
So early on when I started, it was a lot of pro or college players, and it was fine tuning. It's all the same things that you just mentioned. Those things never go away. I think presentation is a little bit different with the older. I think athletes, it's a little bit more about accountability within tasks and awareness, and for the younger folks, it's a little bit more about what the message is. But I was mainly a skills coach, so it was very, very targeted, smaller groups, and really, I think that's probably what led me to getting where I am today, because I felt like I was making a difference. It's I felt like I could honestly say, like, my only interests are the best interests of the person or people in front of me, right? It
Yeah,
wasn't, I don't care what team you play for next year. And that really kind of transitioned into other aspects of the sport. But what I started noticing was even players who had been drafted. I mean, you can take the hockey component out of it. I saw elite performers who weren't maximizing their potential. And at that elite level, it wasn't really a skill difference. Everybody, there was such a fine line.
yeah,
Everybody had skill, everybody, right? So what was the separator? Well, the separator was what was going on inside the helmet,
yeah,
right? Like what was the mindset, or what wasn't the mindset? And very rarely was it the ones who were the most skilled on the ice or in a situation that really continued to level up, right? It was the grittier ones, or the ones who could really manage their focus, control their emotions. Of course, skills matter, but mindset is the foundation. And I always use that word, mindset. The concept of mental performance. Anytime someone says mental performance, this is my opinion, right? Like, the assumption is that there's something wrong, right?
right.
And I don't work with broken people. It was a different time when you and I were younger, and certainly no one wanted to go talk to the mental person.
Right.
So I say mindset. Anytime I say mindset, I'm it's kind of a synonym.
Absolutely. And I do agree, Sandy, that, oftentimes the difference between someone at that elite level success, it's as you said, the difference in honestly, the difference in skills is so minuscule, right? They haven't made it to that elite level because they couldn't skate, or they didn't,
That's right.
again, that's not the point. But the point is the mental game. Like, what is the conversation in your head? I talk to my clients all the time. I call it the committee in our brain that
Yeah, that's
that
right.
is frankly the meanest person in each of our lives, sadly, is ourself. The things that we say that are so negative.
I tell players this all the time, and it's transitioned into either business executives that I work with, or CEO, or whomever it is. My message is always, look, what you just said is so true, that the positive self-talk is so, so important. And perception of self really kind of determines, I think, how you position yourself within fill in the blank of the environment. So I always tell people, like, if you wouldn't say it to someone else, you can't say it to yourself. So like in the sports world, you miss a shot, oh, you're an idiot. That's the worst shot ever. I mean, we've all done it.
Sure.
But, it's like if you wouldn't say it to somebody else, you wouldn't get off the ice or off the field or whatever and, look over to a teammate and say, that was the worst play I've ever seen. You're the worst one out here. Right. So it's like if you wouldn't say it to them,
Why do you say it to yourself?
yeah, and you can't. Yeah, you can't. It's not how the brain operates. So that's a big challenge. It's a challenge with younger players that I work with, pros, professionals. I battle that sometimes, in my personal life. It's normal. Like you said, our biggest critic is ourself, and I'm okay with that. To a lot of people, I remind them that it's okay to be your own biggest critic, but there's a comma there, right? But like you also have to be your biggest fan. Like those
Yeah,
two
well,
things, right?
I always laugh because, and you'll get the reference. There may be younger people listening who don't, but you might remember on Saturday Night Live they had Stuart Smalley,
Yep, yep.
and
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
and as funny as that is, those self-affirmations, as I've gotten older, I'm like, that was an even more brilliant
Yep,
commentary. That
yep.
yes, we do have to say, I am good enough. I like myself.
You don't have to do it in front of the mirror like he did,
No,
but you do have to say it, yeah.
it's funny because as I'm doing the work and stuff with helping people step into their epic, I'm like, first of all, none of us can be successful if we don't believe that we can do it.
Yep.
And
You'll like this. I heard this I say it all the time, but I didn't come up with this. I can't remember where I heard it. Maybe it was a coach or somebody said it to me, but they were talking about the difference. This particular person always mentioned that word belief, right? And
Mhm.
to younger people or even older, like that sometimes it gets confused with confidence, right? And I think those are two totally different things, but everybody is always saying, I want to be confident. I want to be confident. Well, confidence is really the symptom of belief. So
Absolutely.
this person explained it to me this way. And it was like, I've never forgotten this. They said, if you think about a tree outside, what you see above ground, that's confidence. What you don't see below ground, that's belief. So it's like, in that example, like no roots, no tree,
Yeah.
no belief, no confidence. So a lot of the work that I do is really tapping into belief, whereby the end result of it is feeling confident. But I love that you said that because that word I think is so, so important.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I look at my own life and say some of the things that I've accomplished. You said in your intro that you've written 2 books and that kind of that's kind of blows your mind. Look, it completely blows my mind. If you'd asked me in college whether I'd write a book, I'd be like, heck no, I hate writing. And I
Yeah,
really don't. I'm a talker, not a typer, but I had important things I wanted to share. And I figured out that there isn't just one way to write a book, right? I
that's
can
right.
get it down, then I have something to work with, and some of the other stuff I've achieved, even though they were really hard. I used to run half marathons and marathons. It was
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
I can assure you there were many miles in training and running
Yeah.
the race where it was really hard.
Yep.
I certainly know, remember from when I was playing hockey when a game wasn't going well and you're just like, you're in the third period and you are so tired
Yep.
and you're like, but I got to go out and do my shift. I got to do my part to help the team. And you do it. And, but believing that you can, even though you're tired, I can do this.
Yep.
And I think so often there is, well, now I'm gonna sound like an old man for a second here, Sandy.
Older. Yes.
Older,
Yes.
perhaps wise,
Yep.
experienced,
That's
whatever,
right. That's right.
but and you may experience this in working with some of the younger players. So much of the personal validation is coming from external sources, not people, but
That's right.
posts, texts, all of this technology that oh, people said negative things about my play. Well, yeah, people do. I mean, the difference is in when you and I were growing up, Well, people might say it in the stand about your play, but you never heard it. So it didn't
And
matter.
yeah, I'm 50. It's just a different time. It's not right or wrong. It's just different. And what I've noticed, younger people today, probably on a skill spectrum, they're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger, probably than we were when we were younger. But their concept of success or lack of understanding what success means, handling adversity, not running from adversity, being able to just hang in there and persevere. Their like level of grit. It's not their fault, but that's different in the younger generations.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of it can be taught. And that's why I love what I do, because trying to impact younger people, whatever the fill in the blank again, hockey, whatever it is, belief matters, focus matters, grit matters, emotional control matters, discipline matters, self-awareness, they're all the same things. And those really are the foundational aspects, I think, of life. It's easy for us to say that because we've probably messed up more times than they've succeeded even, right? But understanding that, fear doesn't mean stop. Fear means go. And it's always about get back up. All you got to do is just get back up.
Uh,
Where's the focus? What's important now? And just keep moving.
yeah. And I'm few years older than you, but I put us in the same, we grew up with the same sort of
Yep.
experiences. And as a licensed mental health professional, I look at this, I have clients who are much younger than me, and I'm like, all right, I got to understand where they're coming from. And there are things I love, like the social media videos talk about Gen X and, the fact they're funny because I'm like, that is so true. Like
Yep.
the message that came on at 10 at night, saying to parents, do you know where your kids are? Which was
Yep.
not a scare tactic, more a reminder that you have children and it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where they are? Right.
So true.
And whereas today, you'd be like, oh my God, yeah, where are my kids? Where's our parents like, oh God, yeah, where's Sandy? Like
Yep.
I haven't seen them all day, right?
Yep.
Today there's so many athletes that are so single sport focused. Everything they do is play hockey. They played in the summer, they're playing year round, they're doing it. When I grew up, I was playing soccer, hockey, and lacrosse.
Sure.
I was playing baseball with my friends. I was doing a variety of different sports. I had different experiences. I didn't get a medal just for playing.
I think it's very, very important to learn how to win. I think winning matters. I'm
It
not
feels good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think you have to learn how to win, also how to lose. My personal opinion is showing up certainly matters, but I think living a life of get everything you can out of it, whatever the thing is, that requires a certain tenacity that is okay. It's good. It's healthy. It creates great habits. It creates a well-rounded person. I think it's very, very healthy. And like you mentioned something earlier. I think in my world where I spend most of my time, being a good athlete is the most important. It's easy to make a good hockey player, a good lacrosse player, a good soccer player, but I think it has to come from that place of being an athlete, do other things, play other sports. Maybe you're the star on one team and you have to learn how to be a supporting member on the other team, right? So it's not just like the physical benefits. I think being in those different situations is very healthy, and that is how it was even when I was younger. We were doing multiple things.
And I talk about it in my book that failure is part of the journey. We are not
Absolutely.
we are not going to be successful all the time. And there are absolutely the people who are just crazy talented,
Yep.
right? Hopefully those people have the experience of not always being the absolute best, right?
I
Of
I see it.
losing, of like, frankly, losing some, because I think if all you do is have success all the time, you have no idea and no appreciation for what it did. And frankly, I played lots of sports. I was not a top athlete. But for me, it was getting to participate. I get to be part of this team. I get to contribute. Maybe my contribution isn't enormous. It isn't the game-winning goal,
Yeah.
but
You get to
I
compete.
was still part of the team.
You get to compete. Sure.
Right. Even if I was the last person on the whole team, I'm still a member of that team. I still got to play on that team. And I think that's important. And we see those players who are really, really good at whatever sport. The ones that we really admire are usually the ones who have learned that although they're crazy talented, they can't do it alone.
I agree so much that I wrote the first book I wrote. I just finished my third. 2 are out. And so my books are, the first book I wrote is 99 Rules Every Athlete Needs to Know.
Yeah.
And they're kind of quick one-hitters. Quite frankly, it's probably the type of book I would have wanted to have read when I was younger. I wasn't a big reader either, but you can open up to any page. There's some nuggets in there. You can take it with you, toss it in your bag. And I really kind of wrote it for that reason of what you were just talking about. There's lots of reminders about all those subjects. And that I got a good response. I was very, very happy about that, proud of that. And I started hearing a lot from parents that were, how can we help better support our kids? How can we help with the confidence? What should we be saying on the ride to practice, or what should we not be saying on, ride home? So I wrote a second book, was 99 Rules Every Sports Parent Needs to Know.
There you go.
Yeah. And that one has outsold the athlete book, but it's in that same vein. It's everyone's trying to do the best they can. Nobody has all the answers, but the experiences, I think, learned along the way, it raises everybody up when people have more information and more knowledge. And it really kind of helps create, I think, a lot of the principles that you were just talking about, which showing up is, of course, important. Getting up, that's what matters. It's not about the fall down. If you aren't falling down, quite honestly, you're probably not stretching yourself enough.
Yeah.
And comfort zones, I think that's where dreams go to die. The magic happens in the growth zones. And sometimes athletes need to know that, and parents need to be reminded of it, that it's okay if they fall down. You don't have to prevent them from falling down all the time. I think,
I mean,
help them get back up.
Certainly, I don't know about your childhood, but I sometimes marvel. My best friend my whole life, been my best friend my whole entire life. Honestly, all the time marvel at the fact that we are actually here because of some of the crazy
That's
stuff.
a different podcast.
Absolutely, Sandy. But that whole idea, like the stuff that I did as a kid, and I have 2 daughters, and I'm like, there's no, like, I wasn't riding around with a helmet on or whatever. So, yeah, I believe I was just talking about.
We were talking about all of
falling down. I fell down a lot.
Yep. And honestly, I think even adults need to hear it, need to remember it, that it's, that is what life is. And that's there's no judgment for that. It's getting back in the fight, staying focused. What's the goal, and continuing to move forward. And that really is, I think, it sounds like that's a lot of the basis of kind of what you do. My mom was in the mental health business for 40 plus years. She was a therapist. So just surrounded by a lot of that, I think, type of thinking when growing up. Very, very fortunate. And, resiliency is doesn't mean that what happened in the past, you forget about it, but survival, it's finding a way through. That's, I think, just such an important skill.
Yeah, one of the things that when I'm working with some of my clients and they're getting down on themselves, about not being successful or failing at something, I try and remind them that in baseball, people make it into the Hall of Fame if they have a lifetime batting average of over 300.
That's right.
And I'm not taking anything away from that, but I try and help put it in perspective and say, look, that means that they were successful 1 out of every 3 times they went to bat.
Yep.
Imagine you have 9 hours of doing work and your life or whatever. And for you to have a Hall of Fame day, you only have to get 3 hours right. You can totally mess up 6 hours. You get a Hall of Fame day.
I'll
And
give
it's-
you an even crazier one. Same sort of concept. I
Sure.
would talk about this a lot with my clients who want to score more goals. I use a sports analogy.
Sure. Love sports analogies.
Yep. So I'm a Caps fan. Alex Ovechkin, love him or hate him, he's the greatest goal scorer of all time.
Sure.
Right. So up until a couple years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, he's been playing for a while. He would lead the league every year in 2 categories. One would be goals, the other one would be shots. And once you kind of do all the math, it really kind of seemed like he was really kind of scoring goals at like a 10% clip. 10% of the shots were goals. Now, if you look at the goals, it's a Hall of Fame season, 50 plus goals a year, right? But people talk about the 50 goals. No one talks about that's only 10%. And nobody talks about what you were just referring to is, you mean he doesn't score 90% of the time he shoots?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just shoots so much that's the exact same, I think, analogy that you were.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's that whole, for any of us, whatever epic journey we're on, understand that you are going to failure is part of this journey. You're not going to be successful at everything. I laugh all the time as an entrepreneur that I've been quite generous in buying new tools to help me do whatever, be more productive, better customer resource management, all of that. It's not that they're bad tools; they're just not the right tool for me.
Yeah.
When I was running, when I first started to do distance running, I was trying out different shoes. It's not that Brooks makes a bad shoe. I just happen to like New Balance because they fit my foot better. They were more comfortable.
Yep. And the way you came to that decision was trying this, didn't work. What are you going to pack it in and not run it? Like, you keep trying the different options.
Right. And people have hockey sticks and they have the ones that they like. I mean, a hockey stick's a hockey stick. It does the same thing. Be it golf clubs, whatever. I love golf, but golf club isn't going to fundamentally change my game, but there may be a club that's just a better fit for me that allows me to hit better. So, Sandy, fascinating conversation. Clearly, you and I could talk for hours and delve into.
Thank you. Yeah, keep doing great stuff. Honestly, I listen to your stuff. What a great. Anytime you use the word epic, I think it's a worthy endeavor. So congrats to your success.
Thank you. How can people find your book, get a hold of you?
Yep. So my website is sandycohan.com, and they'll be able to get the books there by soon. Like I said, there'll be a 3rd book out. So you can just go to www.sandycohan.com, and would love to chat with anybody about anything having to do with mindset. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I want to remind everyone that if you're ready to begin your epic journey, go to epicbegins.com. And as always, remember that epic choices lead to the epic life that you want.
Get your gift copy of the award-winning book, Epic Begins with One Step Forward, at epicbegins.com. That's a wrap on this episode of Epic Begins with One Step Forward with your host, Xander Sprague, best-selling author, internationally acclaimed public speaker, and licensed professional clinical counselor. To make your next conference or event epic, send an email to Xander at zander@epicbegins.com. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Remember, epic choices, epic life.